Well, happy belated New Year. This is Lonnie West with LHZ Preamps. I am very excited to announce that we are finally releasing the LHZ-04 version of the preamp. Longtime followers of LHZ know generally in the beginning of the year we'll release a new version of the preamp. This isn't for sales per se, it's really what we've learned through the last year from you, the customer, to make improvements. This year we've had a lot of users installing the LHZ into non-Spectre bases. So the questions really kind of skewed in the direction of how do I fit it into this unusual space? The LHZ-3 was really designed to fit onto that little shelf inside of a Euro or Reebok base, but when you're putting it under a pick guard, it doesn't fit as well. So we took a lot of this feedback into the new design. So let's talk about what's new in the LHZ-4. Well, the first thing to remember is that the sound has not changed at all. This is exactly the same circuit with the same components, the same values. When we test it, we still benchmark to the original benchmarks that we recorded from a real HasLabs preamp. So we know the sound is exactly the same. Now, what has changed are a few things. And when you look at it, you can see the immediate change is that we moved to 100% surface mount components. Using surface mount components allowed us to make the board a lot smaller. So when you look at them side by side, you can see the difference. The LHZ-3 was a 29mm by 48mm board. That's about 1/8" by 1 7/8", which is a pretty small board to begin with. The LHZ-4 comes in at 25.4mm by 41, which is a 1" by 1 5/8" board, a lot smaller. We also moved the output connector from being vertical to 90 degrees, and this made a huge reduction in the vertical clearance required by the board. When you look at it from the side, when you put on the output connector, the LHZ-3 would take about a 1" clearance. That gave enough room for the connector and the wire bend. The LHZ-4, with the 90-degree pins, comes in at a tight 3/8 of an inch or 9mm clearance. This means that board is really great for fitting under spaces under pick guards and bases that we'd previously struggled to get it into. So we're really looking forward to how this will work out in the field this year. Last thing, it's red, which is really cool. We thought red would be a good board just for a good visual change. It makes it easier to identify what board you're using. Honestly, when we got it in, we really liked the look of it, and we'll probably keep red as our boards going into the future. It also matches our new LBCA Active Blend module, which we'll be releasing in about a month. We'll have more information on that very soon. The LHZ-4 will go on sale in February of 2025, and it's important to note that we're still going to be selling the LHZ-3. That's still going to be out there for a while. We know we have a very large install base of users that are using that. So it's not going away anytime soon, but eventually when stock is all gone, all sales will move over to the LHZ-4. Lastly, I just wanted to take a moment to thank you. Last year was a very good year. We saw far more sales than we thought we'd ever get. And those of you who have been following this from the beginning knows that this really didn't start out as a preamp business. This was me just trying to solve my own problem for a base, and just the overwhelming support from the community, the advice, and people just telling me to push on through to solve it is really what drove this project forward. So this constant communication with clients has been the highlight of this project, and it means a lot to me. Whether I'm talking to somebody who's on an international tour or somebody who's just starting out, jamming in their bedroom, hoping of being in a band one day, each conversation is meaningful, and there are no dumb questions, and I welcome every one of them. So from the bottom of my heart, I thank you for taking a chance on me a few years ago, and I hope as we keep moving forward into 2025, we're going to keep inspiring each other to more greater things. So cheers. I'll talk to you next time.